big deal about this rapping stuff anyway?
I'm on fire for it, baby. People wait their whole lives for that feat.
You say what it was. We were supposed to love. You better hold it down. That was one on the phone. One that I love. I don't understand. You think I pretend? Now you wanna do with my heart in your hands. Making demands. Unless we can be friends. But that wasn't in the plans. But we was on a man. But I couldn't go. I should've played it well. Trying to turn me on.
What's up, boy?
Trying to turn me on.
But if you do, then you know what's up.
I know what's up. What's that supposed to mean? I know what's up.
You know what's up.
No, I don't know unless you tell me. Do I look like a mind reader to you? Do you see some big turban on my head?
Rich, don't even try to play that off. If you're going, go.
But if I do, I know what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Cultivating Female Sexual Energy by Mantak Chia. That's a good book. Peace, vibrations, and goodness, joy, abundance, prosperity, positivity, love making, passion, all of the good things in life, relationships, friendships, kinships, bonds, everything sacred. I bestow upon you this morning. Very happy, just in good spirits. I feel my spirit feels free. My spirit feels alive. Just in the vibe of new moon in Scorpio, which is upon us. We pay close attention to astrology on a daily, on a regular, for this very reason, for the quote unquote dark stuff, the quote unquote negativity. We find the lesson in it, we find the peace in it, we find the joy in it, because we never was attached to that shit, no way. We realized a long time ago to be attached to something much more valuable, much more important than surface physical things, and creating those bonds, creating those kinships, brings us to this moment. New moon in Scorpio feels like a holiday. It feels like a release. It feels like a time where we can really step into our power, step into our ideals, begin to connect with those who really mean us well, and begin to separate those who don't mean us well. Part of Scorpio is death, and I know that makes a lot of people cringe and feel a certain type of way, but we just talking about farming and getting rid of those old plants that no longer serve the garden, and we allowing that space to just be, and from this space, like, just imagine, okay, it's the end of October or the beginning of November, and we have wiped away all of the corn husks from the farm, right? and all we got is this space to look at. And what do we do with that space, right? We project. We get to think like, okay, last year I planted corn, you know, this year I'm gonna plant, you know, vegetables, or you know what I'm saying, like whatever you decide. And like, this is the time to really plan, in which I feel like is a great thing, you know, as opposed to, you know, living life on the fly, living life, you know, one day at a time and things of that nature. No, let's begin to project, let's begin to plan, let's begin to understand the astrology. So today we're doing something different. We're talking about signs today. Okay, we're talking about constellations. We're talking about two specific constellations that I feel are important. Major Jupiter is going into Sagittarius tomorrow, and we'll talk about that more tomorrow, but let's give us the baseline for what to prepare for, because I find it ironic that we have a new moon and then Jupiter transits into a whole new terrain, which is called Sagittarius. So maybe we haven't fully elaborated on the idea of Sagittarius and the idea of Jupiter and what it actually could mean. We are talking about a complex constellation that means a lot to us in how we can begin to develop and understand astrology. And so Sagittarius is represented in a symbol as an archer, you know, or as a centaur. And what that represents is an attached duality, meaning that you are what you attract. And you just gotta build with me, because we're gonna build to something. So you are always what you attract. And another symbolism to Sagittarius is the actual archer. And the archer is the ego, or the person. And then ultimately that archer has that bow and arrow, and he projects that bow and arrow. And the final level of Sagittarius is that arrow flying through the sky. And then the karmic path of Sagittarius is that arrow coming back to the sender. So it's a all-encompassing thing to say that Sagittarius represents your path and what you attract. And when you speak to your path, it's only your path. Like, it's only what you attract. It's only what you decide you want in life. And part of this could be like the ego, like it could be like human ambition, or another level of Sagittarius where, you know, you really ascend is spiritual attainment. And this is what I want to speak to. A lot of people in general will talk about Sagittarius as pure human ambition, like, oh, you can do what you want to do, you can be this person that you really want to be. My idea of Sagittarius is really creating a positive correspondence. Like, instead of like aiming straight ahead, I begin to aim up, you know what I'm saying, and deal with that energy. Because if I aim straight ahead, I'll hit somebody and then I'll get that karmic cycle in return. But if I aim up, then that's the karmic return that I get. I'm not projecting my energy on people. And so I hope that makes sense. I hope you can understand, because a lot of what Sagittarius does for me, it sits in my mind photographically, and I can only speak to you in images of how I see Sagittarius and how I see all signs of astrology. I see them in my mind as images, and what I'm trying to do is explain the image. And so really, once we begin to have that correspondence with our deities and our, you know, ascended masters and those higher forms of thought, and elevate in our mind and really think into that higher level of, you know, being, that creates a path for us as well. You know, it's not like, so the thought of it is like, you know, a lot of niggas doing this conscious stuff for nothing. You know, like they just doing it because they see somebody else doing it. And it's like say for instance, like working with a deity gets you a lot of money, and everybody be like, oh, I'm working with this deity and I'm getting all of this money. Then everybody is going to be wanting to work with that deity, you know. And it's like, that's not a proper reason to be introduced to kind of spiritual concepts. You should be really working with something that's really working with you, that's trying to advance you in many different ways, not just simply financially. Because like realistically, to imagine you to have money or anything one-sided, then you would be falling off in another area. So the idea of spiritual attainment is a holistic experience, an all-encompassing experience of wellness, wholeness, and oneness, and not on the individual, egoic, human ambition side of Sagittarius that the majority of people talk to. So, and Sagittarius in and throughout itself, like the whole journey, like you could live a whole life, a whole Sagittarian life, like, you know, a whole experience can be Sagittarian, but that's not even the end. Sagittarius is still leading you somewhere, that even once you get to Capricorn and you climb a mountain and you can live a whole existence, like our whole existence might be, you know, a Capricornian experience, but that ain't the end. Because then you got to go through, you know, Aquarius and fly from that mountain. And then you find yourself flying in a whole different vibration. But that ain't the end either, because then you sink down into the bottom of the ocean, which is Pisces, and become, you know, face all of your fears. You can't fly, you can't walk, you can't run, you can't do nothing but sink in the bottom of this ocean. That's everybody's worst fear. And it ain't over, because it comes right back again into Aries. So, you know, the whole process of it is never ending. So just want to say that to initiate your path is never a point of egoic, you know, I made it, you know. Anything that I've accomplished, anything that I've ever set out is always the beginning for me. Like I'm still hungry, just as if I ain't got shit or nobody paying attention to me or nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm still thinking of how can I make it? Like, how can I, you know, break that glass ceiling? Like, even when I break glass ceilings, I'm always thinking about that next glass ceiling. And so I just think that's a healthy energy. But ultimately, that's my idealism. What is your idealism? Bring that into Sagittarius. Bring that new experience into, you know, really connecting with the divine and seeing what the divine has to show you and walking in that path, walking into that new experience. If you want any understanding of Jupiter, I think I have a great video of explaining Jupiter in full detail esoterically. And to sum it up in just this video is really explaining the idea of your hippocampus and your short-term memory. And the reality is that we live in the span of short-term memory. So what are you doing? Are you doing the same things every day, creating weird little patterns for yourself? Or are you switching it up, doing different things, exposing yourself to new things, spiritually, to expose yourself to new things and open yourself up to the path is really available for us. And I only say that to say because Jupiter is transiting into a new sign and we have a new moon in Scorpio. And I think the difficult thing about running and operating this channel is that I constantly speak to future events. And I don't speak to I don't really speak to current events. So where I'm trying to speak to setting intentions and bringing things into realizations, people can sometimes be bogged down with their current situation or their past situation. And when I'm saying like we can really create from the past, like this is something that like I'm trying to show people. Like this is what we could do. And if we all operate on a level of imagination, whether we know it or not. And Scorpio, new moon in Scorpio represents that spiritual imagination for better or for worse. The talks in our home is like, you know, really we have to set the tone spiritually, or else, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not to say that we can avoid having spiritual awareness. Like even if we're imagining the bad things in our life, that's still using a spiritual imagination. Like we can imagine things being positive, we can imagine things being negative, but it still represents a level of spiritual imagination. So really understanding this principle and really bringing this to the core is understanding the principle of Maya. And that was kind of what we started off this video with. And I really feel like all of us as individuals are gods to a certain level and a certain extent. And what comes the power of God is the power to create. And really using the power of creation, using the power of new moons, the power of intentions. And however you deem that to be, whether it's going to the ocean, whether it's walking in the woods, whether it's lighting a candle, whatever creates a moment that you could look back and say, you know, at that moment, I set the intention for this to manifest for myself. It's just a powerful thing. And really understanding this, what I would like to call a portal. And it's not even something that I would even want it to be popular or a lot of people to talk about. I would want this to be personal for you, whoever's on the live or whoever watches this video, to know that you have the power to create your reality. More so, you've already been doing it. Because spiritual imagination works both ways. And if we can understand this level of Scorpio as we look at the sun and the moon being conjunct at 15 degrees and really feeling that unifying energy, that cycles and getting rid of things and starting new is normal and healthy and good. And knowing that, okay, the process of nature allows me to set the tone for my next season, my next cycle. And not wasting this time and wasting this energy. You know, I feel the pressure of creation upon me. So that's why it's like, okay, do this video, speak to this energy, and then do some work. You know what I'm saying? Like, however that shows up for you, you know. But definitely a beautiful time. The concept here is, the anchor today is the Princess of Swords. And what I see today, you know, what I feel generally is that the energy that we projecting outward, we really need to project that energy inward. Like it's really a point where we can't be thinking that, you know, our enemy is outside of ourselves. It's really a beautiful time if we can really attune to the energy of the divine. The Nine of Cups is ruled by Jupiter and Pisces, which is really that submersion, really that embracing of, you know, the reality. You know, wherever you're at is a time to create. And don't take this moment for granted, because, you know, cycles. Also, Prince of Wands speaks to the male energy of, you know, really saving that male energy. I heard a lot of people talking about it on social media where it's like where guys aren't doing it because it's November, or they're not releasing semen because it's November, which I think is healthy, and a lot of people kind of speaking against it and things of that nature. But you know, if you've been doing it thus far, keep it up, and even if you messed up, you know, try again. You know, I think this is a real powerful energy for men in November, because I've been doing it, you know what I'm saying, recently, and like it feels good. To a diss represents change, you know, change, but I think these cards really work together. The Aeon and change is the spiritual change that we're speaking to, the spiritual attainment that we're speaking to. Like, I really hope that people can understand what I'm saying when spiritual attainment is very key to personal development. Like, wherever you find yourself, it really don't necessarily matter. Like, no, it's not about sex. It's about energy and semen. I feel like it's way healthier if you in a relationship to have sex and not release semen. Because you would have sex more, the sex would be healthier, and you won't get pregnant if you don't want to. Like, you know what I'm saying? It all works out. So, you know, but, you know, there's so much spiritual energy on the planet that I would hate for people to be paying attention to something other than what their soul is guiding them to, and awaken them to the paths that are opening up for us. And what I'm speaking to is a future event that, you know, an alignment, so to speak, you know, that we're ultimately preparing for. An example, like, me and my wife had a conversation, like, you know, on Sunday, like what we were going to do today. And one of the things we were going to do was buy some wood so we can make some more chairs. And first thing this morning, somebody texts like, I'm interested in buying some chairs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even before, like, that was even the dialogue of everything that we were going to do. So what I would suggest to the family, like, I'm going to just be really candid and really open. Like, you know, I hope that people are writing the things that they want into existence down, you know, and really speaking it into existence, and really understanding the magnitude of your energy. And imagine, like, if you are distracted, don't imagine that distraction to be your distraction. Know that energy is coming from somebody outside of you that's trying to distract you, trying to pull you away from yourself, trying to pull you away from your experience and your pleasure, because you truly define that. You know, you truly are the one who controls and really dictates what's happiness to you. And so it's a lot of energy that will simply try to pull you away from what's happiness to you. So, you know, be very keen today. Be very mindful, you know, of the intentions that you truly want to set. And don't imagine things negatively. It could be a real deep and long and drawn out conversation. It could be a real deep, long, drawn out conversation on how negative energies are not your energies. These are kind of thought forms that either you create, or, you know, whatever is blocking you, whatever is imprisoning you, whatever is creating this negative energy is actually feeding off of your energy. Like, it's living off of your pain and your sadness. So the best thing you could do is do shit to make you happy. Like, that would piss some people off. And it's amazing. You know, it's amazing. You know, like, if you ever follow me on Facebook, it's amazing how, like, I'll be joking or laughing at myself. Like, everything, I'll put y'all in on a little secret. Everything that I talk about on Facebook is shit that either I've done or I've experienced or things that I find funny about my experience. And I'll talk about it and people get mad, but I'm free from it. But everybody not free from the shit that I'm free from, so it's gonna make people upset. So when you decide to walk outside of your prison, of course people gonna be upset. Of course people gonna be mad at you. But, you know, it's your man. And, you know, in this morning, I was thinking about fucking I Am Legend. And the end of it, it's an alternate ending of I Am Legend, or just that whole movie about like the zombies and shit, where it's like they messing with them, but they really can't really mess with them for real. It's like one of those things where it's like, but they feeding off your fear, they feeding off your darkness. Like when it's dark, they about to fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? But when you in your light, they just real mad. They just real mad, but there's nothing that they could do when you doing the right things and you got the right modality. They just get real angry. So hope that made sense, man. I hope that was something that y'all could resonate or vibe with. Just giving y'all something really light for real. Tonight we going in Sister Queens Radio. The flyers on social media. If you don't follow me on Instagram, why not? The Hood Mystic. This is my first page on Instagram, my last post or whatever. So the time, date, number is all there. I hope people that's on this live watch this video. Tune in tonight, because I didn't go in tonight. Like this live, I didn't go in. I kind of was like, let me just give them a little something, like, you know what I'm saying? But tonight, I'm really, because in between now and tonight is going to be a lot of spiritual work. So, like, I hope everybody tunes in tonight. Ringing Stone Network, Blog Talk Radio. Follow me on Instagram if you want the phone number. I should have had it for this video, but I didn't. I apologize, but I don't know how to do that at this moment. Just follow me on Instagram. It's so easy. The Hood Mystic. Everybody got Instagram on their phones. But, you know, peace and love, man. You know, I'm a genuine spirit. I have some time, so if anybody is interested in reading or reaching out, I got some people to talk to, first and foremost. So, but like, got some time, you know what I'm saying? I went through a rough couple weeks. Like I told you, I was going through some particular training, but now it ain't like that no more. So now I got more time, I got more flex, more availability. So, you know, thank you for being patient with me. I'm about to get back to work on this Hood Mystic thing, you know. And what else we got coming? The New Moon Meditations is going to be strictly for Patreon subscribers. You know what I'm saying? Like, New Moon Meditations, Full Moon Meditations, and then Patreon subscribers, we're going to do some guided meditations. Like I said, I've been doing some research, but I want them things to be crystal clear, high definition, headphones only, you know, proper frequency, proper range to give, like, you know, maximum healing. So, you know, and I'm just doing that for Patreon subscribers. And to be a Patreon subscriber, it don't take much. It takes $1. Like, if I can get everybody that fuck with me for real to donate $1 a month, you know, I could really make some real change in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'd be crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'd be real change. But it's the little things, man, that make a big difference. So, you know, pay attention today at the little things that you could do to really make a big difference, the little changes that you can make in how you begin to view the world, view yourself, A real big thing to do is get over yourself, get out of that negative spiritual imagination, touch into that positive, magical, spiritual, divine, godly, otherworldly, supernatural imagination, because that's available too. That's just as real as that fucking low self-esteem, poor body image, never feeling good about yourself, never happy. That's just as real as you being, you know, goddess of the earth, you know, like I can't even begin to put in words your energy, you know what I'm saying, on a positive scale. Will only be doing you a disservice. So anything that you feeling negatively, make sure you clear it. Make sure you do the proper ritual or the proper, you know, intention today. You know, 11/7. 2018. And once again, I hope this message really resonated with you, and be sure to tune in tonight to the Ring and Stone Network as we going in deeper. Me and Sister Sangoma, Ring and Stone Network is going down. But peace and love, y'all. Have a good day.